Can you dig it? Welcome, everybody. It's so good to see you here on Mallrats Monday. Yes, it's Mallrats Monday once again. So I want to say massive thank you very much to my wonderful blue hippopotamus teacups and my fantastic wheat crunchy teapots out there. I'm really glad that you're here today. You're such a wonderful group of people. I'm also there is somebody who's just popped into the chat. High five, dog. You're my human. I love you. You're amazing. Just give me that inspiration. That would be great.
No one likes a fucking suck up. High five, dog.
But I hope you enjoy. I haven't seen you in the chat very often or before, so I hope that you enjoy the show, and also that our wonderful community are here to welcome you in to this what is this? It's this. Oh yeah, it's D&D. That's the one. D&D session. I am currently
Stuart's in the pub.
Oh, is he in the pub? Oh, mate, are you in the? Is he in the Fox? I hope he's in the Fox. But I am here in Mama Thorpe's mansion, in their office, which has been wonderful. Unfortunately, Mama Thorpe isn't here. Otherwise, I'd get her to come and do the Can You Dig It? But unfortunately, they are in Scotland. I'm just wondering if they do actually say hi if she has managed to come along. But if not, it's good to see so many good people. Stuart's here, Physicans here, our Beau's here. Disco Queen. And if you are looking in the background, do say hello. It is a wonderful little community that we have here. And actually, I think I would really love our lurkers to pop out up on the woodwork today and say hi, and give us a follow, etc., etc. But it'd be great to kind of see everybody. It feels like it hasn't been very long since I've seen everyone. I think it was it was really not that long ago that we saw each other.
It was on Thursday, wasn't it?
I know. It went from haven't seen you for 3 weeks, and then I can't get rid of you. And it's but it's so lovely to see everybody here. It really is. So let's kind of pop around and see how everyone is doing today. I think we have a couple of announcements that we're going to do later on in the stream about our next fight free of TPK. Which is going to be really enjoyable. We'll find out what date that is a little bit later on. And I think if you keep an eye on the socials, you'll also find out what we're doing a little bit further along in the months as well, which would be great to see. Stuart's there with the lurkers. Thank you very much. And again, thank you so much for the sub. High five. Big love. That's
High
so
five.
Good. High five.
Yeah.
Gifted by Daz just for a change. What a legend.
So thank you very much for that. Let me just get this, make sure there you go. Everything is back on track and we can see you there on screen as well, which is great. So, Dan, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am really frazzled, but I'm doing all right. I did my first show in Crooks over the weekend.
Nice.
That was awesome and hectic, and forgot my own fight, which was hilarious. The guy who I was fighting, I just said, I was like, "Oh, do you guys do anything just in case anyone forgets?" And he was like, no. And I was like, well, just in case one of us forgets, I'll sort of push you away and we'll start again. And then I forgot halfway through, forgot my own fight. But it was really, really good fun. Everyone was super supportive. And yeah, I can't wait to get back. I think I'm on Wednesday. Yeah, it's been really, really good fun.
Nice.
Yeah, they've literally just started throwing dates at me now for playing different roles and things. So I'll be coming to a collab tavern near you in a variety of different roles.
Nice.
I'm swinging, baby.
Talking about roles and having the gift of roles, GP Dads are just giving you some inspiration, so you've got that one there for you. If you need it. So thank you very much, GP. Just so
Thanks, Dad.
We can see that. I mean, I don't have a disadvantage, which is very unusual for me. Very unusual for me. And of course, Baggy hasn't got an inspiration either at the moment. So just
they're saying in the chat they can't see an Oshi inspiration. Is that on the menu?
Well, let's go sort this out, shall we? Let's see if we can sort this out, because that's
She was bad last week.
Yeah.
you're not allowed it.
Don't deserve an advantage.
It's your comeuppance, Oshi. It's your comeuppance.
All right, let me pop in.
Oh, we got Bizzlekins redeeming the DM disadvantage as well.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks, mate. Love you, Josh.
Balance.
You're an absolute legend,
Balance.
Josh. Thank you for that.
High five, dog, and Fizzlekins.
Yeah, exactly.
High five, dog.
Channel points. Let's make sure this is all on. Let's have a look. Oshi.
It looks like... Oh, maybe it's because Oshi already has inspiration? Is that how it works?
No, it's now turned on. My apologies. That was turned off.
Oh.
My apologies there. It should come back on now. If you go and try it, I think, hopefully.
Oh, Oshi's got one by the looks of it. Oh, and you've got the little Rick's artwork up as well. And he's so tiny.
Yeah, there's little Rick's right here. And so that was really nice to sort of see from Rowan. So thank you very much, Rowan, and you guys as well for organising that. Little Rick's going to sit on my shoulder for the rest of this until he dies anyway. So...
Joe, he's not a dog.
If he dies, it would be my fault completely. I take that now.
We'd all be a mess, though. It'd be so horrible to watch. It would just be 5 adults crying.
Not for the first time on this stream.
Yeah, this is what you're coming into, guys.
Everyone loves a Monday.
Just because everyone seems to be trying to try and get Oshi some inspiration. Remember, you can only have one inspiration at a time, and Oshi currently has an inspiration. I'm not sure. I have turned it back on. I don't know if you need to refresh or anything like that. I'm not too au fait about turning on points in the middle of a stream. I'm not sure, but it is turned on now for sure on my end. So just so you're aware. Great. All right. So Dan's good. Okay. Actually, as we're talking about Oshi, how are you doing, Gabs?
I'm good, thanks. I went out twice this week.
Yes.
Out the house, which was amazing. Well, not even this week, since Thursday. I know. I saw 2 humans who I haven't seen for one of them a year. So it was amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's really nice.
But-
That's good.
But getting on the tube was a bit scary and stuff. But I went out, and also on my Pokedex, I've got 335 out of 400 Pokemon. And the last 65 is so tough. Literally since Thursday, I've only gone up 10 or 11. And I'm like, what the heck? Come on.
That's the problem, isn't it? Catching them always a difficult job.
It is, yeah.
Well,
How are you, Joe?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm having a few problems with moving, but other than that, I'm okay. I have been. Oh man, Eleanor has gotten me in. My friend Eleanor has got me into, I would say, the first reality television show that I've ever gotten into.
What is it?
Australian Survivor. I can't put that down, and I'm ashamed of myself.
That's like classy reality TV, though.
Yeah.
Siri here. Let me know if I can help.
Who was that? Was that you, Evie? Was that me saying classy? You thought it was Siri? Everyone hates the Northerners, don't they? Fucking hell.
I think it's because I
Tried to
said...
mug me off on the stream.
I think it's because I said, it's okay. And then Siri just pops up like, no, we don't need you right now.
So
That's
good.
the first time he's done that. Sorry. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Surveilling us, though. Seeing what we're up to.
Oh man, if it happens again, I am definitely going to try and do something on your computer.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've been obsessed with Australian Survivor. I cried, I laughed, I panicked, I've all sorts of stuff. I'm definitely ashamed of myself. I'm going to burn my clothes and have a shower. But it's good. And then I've been playing some board games. I've been playing Mice and Mystics this week, which I've had a lot of fun playing. Very much D&D light, playing little mices, trying to take a kingdom. Loads and loads of fun. Finally got through chapter 1. So that's how good we are at it. So we've got it set up downstairs. We're leaving it set up and we're going to play all week. That's the kind of the idea. So hopefully I'll give you an update of what happens next week. But yeah, thank you very much, Gabs. That's very nice of you to ask. There you go. And actually we'll pop over to someone who wanted to get in there but didn't have the time. And I know that they were always thinking of me. Mr. Thompson, how are you doing today?
Oh, hello.
Didn't see you there.
Sorry, yeah, I'm good, thanks. How am I today? Yeah, I'm fine. I am currently planning the entertainment for a wedding, for someone else's wedding. Don't know who they are. Met them today over Zoom. So that's going well. Started playing BioShock.
Oh yeah.
I never played them before, so I got the trilogy on my Switch and started playing that. And I I remember why I didn't play it before, because parts of it are scary, you know?
Yeah, they are.
It's a lonely, lonely world that only you and your wrench
Yep.
have to try and navigate through.
You on the first one?
First one, yeah.
I'm a big fan of the second one, so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to stick with it, you know, just really sit in that scary place and try and keep zapping everyone with my electric hands, you know?
It's just that kind of like, just that really creepy world. It's just such a creepy world.
Yeah, rapture. Creepy.
Creepy.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, yeah.
Well,
I loved it, though.
I'm glad that you've been like keeping your heart rate up. That's a good sign.
Good for me.
I just want to quickly say hello to Heavens Bevans. We missed you last session. I'm really glad that you're here for this time.
I know, that was so strange.
No, it was very strange not having Bevans here. And we'll pop over and see, how are the hills over there, Evie?
Well, they're far, far away, deep within my mind. This is where I've been all week, just with green pastures around me, blue skies, and no other people. Much like Bioshock, actually. Yeah. No, thanks. I had a hen do it the weekend. That was fun. That was really nice. And then I came back yesterday. I got in at about 4 and had loads of things to do, like unpack, tidy my room, do a food shop, prep for some workshops this week. But instead, I ended up playing Fortnite for 4.5 hours because I literally can't stop. I can't stop. I'm obsessed. To the point where the other day I had a bet on with my housemate. He did some work for me and he was like, right, I bet that you can't kill 10 people in one game. And if you do manage it tonight at any point, you can pay me £50 less for the work that I did for you. And I was like, why?
Wow.
Why? I was like, also, why are you suddenly cash rich, you fool? But yeah, so I had that bet on. Now, this is what happened, everyone. I managed to kill 9 people in the game, and it ended up being me and one other person. So I had to win the game in order to kill 10 people, essentially, right? The storm had closed in. The playing stage was small. I saw this guy. I was like, I'm going to get you. Shot him with a big gold tactical shotgun. He fell off the building, and I was like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, he's still alive. Oh, crap. So I waited at the top for him because I knew I could hear him coming up the stairs. But the storm got even smaller. And I was like, come on. I was waiting at the door like, oh, I'm going to get you. He's going to run into me and I'm going to kill him. And then just before he got to the top, the storm must have killed him because suddenly he was gone and it said Victory Royale. Now, I would argue that I killed 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But
No,
I didn't
wouldn't.
because basically I was a little bit tipsy also when this had happened. So I got really aggy about it and I was like, no, I killed 10 people. And then the next morning I saw my housemates and I was like, I'm really sorry about last night. I realised that the storm killed that final person and I didn't. And so yes, it was only 9 kills.
I would argue that.
That's good though.
I would argue that your strategic play allowed them to run out of time. So I've been in survivor mode, so it's like, playing the game is really important. And I think you played the social game really strong there. And actually, tactically, you waited them out and they failed at the last moment. So you get the immunity bracelet. That's it. That's how it works.
High Five Dog commented very wisely of them. The storm got the kill, you got the assist.
That is very wise. That's true.
I'll
take that. I'll take 9.5 kills as my highest.
Still have to pay that extra 50 quid though.
I know, which is fair. I would have felt bad anyway.
Yeah. But either way, you're a winner.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, 4.5 hours of my life spent on Fortnite. I am winning.
Yep.
Clearly.
Yep.
But yeah, so apart from that, I'm great. I'm actually really good. Not bitter.
Not bitter at all.
Not bitter. No, I don't think about it every night when I go to sleep now. I'm just like replaying it in my mind. Anyway, so yes.
Nice. Well, that's good. I'm glad that we're all well. I hope everybody else on the chat is all well and keeping up with everything that's going on. I do know that if you did miss an episode like Kevin's Bevins did, you can always pop over to the VODs or pop over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like the video, and rewatch it there, which would be great as well. So that is constantly being updated. No, I say I don't think the last episode's on there, but it will be. But you won't know unless you subscribe. So there you go. So go over and make sure you go over and subscribe. Talking about kind of things that are going on around on the old Sabotage universe, we do have another round, another game of TPK coming up very, very soon, actually. So I want to kind of pop on a little video for you to give you the date of when the next fight is going to occur. So I hope you enjoy it. See you in a little bit. Okay, it's Tuesday the 10th, 7 p.m. BST is when we're going to be coming back. I see shaking heads and that scares the shit out of me. No, it is right. It is the right date. I'm going to stick with it. As we're going to have, actually, we might as well reveal the name of it as well while we're here. We're going to be seeing the Orcus fighting a great team of people called the Unbirthday Party. So I'm really looking forward to kind of see how that goes. With the wonderful DM, Mr. Josh Ellison, also known as Shark Gosh. Shark Gosh here as well on the chat. So
Shark Gosh, baby.
So that's going to be hugely exciting. So do pop along and join us on Tuesday, the 10th. What's lucky is because we'll be on the Monday beforehand, so you get 2 days of us, which is really great.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray! Hooray!
And if you are new to the channel and you don't know what TPK is about, it is about taking 4 high-level characters, going straight into the boss fight against a legendary or iconic creature inside our custom-designed arena, drawn by a wonderful bench. And you can see what these creatures can do and what high-level players can do as well. Currently, the players are 2-0 over the monsters, but I think that's because I've been running them and I'm too nice as a DM. But Josh is ruthless.
Savage.
Absolutely ruthless. So I'm looking forward for the monsters to get the first win on that one, I hope. But we've got some amazing players there, some of which we've had on the channel. In fact, all of which we've had on the channel. Some of which we've had on the channel and some new ones as well, which is going to be fantastic. So keep your eyes open on the socials. Make sure you follow, subscribe and everything else so you can keep up to date with what happens there. If not, just join us anyway on Tuesday the 10th for TPK Fight Free. Alrighty then. So I think we've done enough chatting. We've done 22 minutes of chatting. So I think it's going to be a good thing. Oh, that reminds me, Fizzlekins, I sent you a message. I don't know if you probably got it or not. You probably have replied, but I just haven't checked. So don't worry, mate, you're amazing.
Brilliant.
He's responded already.
Classic show.
Brilliant.
So good.
Oh, so funny.
Alrighty, so we need to find out really what happened last week, and this has become kind of a piece of the show that I enjoy immensely. So I want to see Mr. Rob Thompson. Would it be possible for you to do our little recap for us and tell us what happened last week?
I can, and I will. Now I need to put a bit of a header on this. This is very Oshi centric, and what musical style best fits Oshisota? Anyone? Yeah, you're right. Kind of grungy. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Kind of like Nirvana. Yeah, that's what I've gone for. So let's party. She
She overslept, and the rest of them have got quite wet. She's walking off. Assassin's Guild is where she's gone. She buys a drink. Wants a quiet place where she can think. She's in denial. Then a man with no teeth attempts to sell her a vial of poison. Poison. She's on the move to find the editor of the WD News. They both sit down in a twat-filled shack in the center of town. He's a disgusting man. But Oshi doesn't worry 'cause she's got a plan. She takes her chance. Spikes his drink and he necks the glass of poison. Poison. A broken home. Everybody's angry, but there's nowhere to go. Oh, Phatts is mad. Baggi tries to tell him that she's not so bad. A little later on, Baggi and Oshi just can't get along. She's had enough. And Baggi walks away thinking that you were made of poison. 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 I think you're made of.
Oh
speechless.
my god! Ah,
Very nice, Mr. Thompson. Is it poison? Get me all your poison on the chat there for Mr. Rob Thompson. I want all the poisons on the chat, please. Very, very nice. Very nice. Here we go. Oh my word. Yeah, that was pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
it was an interesting showdown sort of episode. We had a lot of conversation, a lot of great role play on there. So that was one of my highlight actually sessions from our entire reel together. So I hope that we can kind of follow that up with the great second album, Poison 2. So let's see how we get on. Make a con save. Exactly. Here we go with the con saves. Interestingly enough, it's been... I think we're going to start jumping sort of straight in with the next day. But before we do that, we're going to do our lovely little montages. I hope you enjoy these. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask the chat, shall we play some D&D? Yeah, lovely. All righty.
That's what we're here for.
All right, so a finger, as we see it follow through. Its black nail as the red scales underneath slowly moves through the air. Smiley face emoji, smiley face emoji, smiley face emoji, smiley face emoji, smiley face emoji. Fireworks. Sent. Somewhere in another office, you hear diddle-da, diddle-da, diddle-da. Back over to the finger. It's about to put another smiley face. It says, "Please desist from sending messages. This is a secure line." Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Fireworks. Diddle-da, diddle-da, diddle-da. Please desist from using this service. This is a secure channel. And as the finger starts to come down, a new message turns up. Phatts, meet me now. Cut to.
Pups has always done things at 100 miles an hour, rushing from class to class, jumping to defend his friends, play fighting with his friends, even real fighting with his friends. But he always had an anchor, a totem. Tunk would teach him to be more kind. Baggi would teach him to be more sensible. Oshi would teach him to chill the fuck out. He would always need a totem to keep him on the right track, so his 100-mile-an-hour tendencies wouldn't throw him off at a sharp corner. He could always rely on at least one of them to be the sensible one, to not fight each other, to be the calm, kind, sensible one that would chill him the fuck out. Someone was always there. Cut to.
Troll Skull Manor, far into the future. Through the open door of the building, we see the once glamorous members' club now in ruins. The faded leather seats, tattered and beyond repair. The mahogany bar, coated in a thick layer of dust, hides the stains and the chips in the wood beneath. The stairs groan under the weight of a warforge descending slowly up to the top floor. Empty rooms, long since abandoned. He passes them without thought. He stops in the doorway of the kobold's room, the kobold he used to call Son. The room still shows evidence of a rapid exodus, a panicked packing of precious belongings before the machine returned. Phatts sits on the bed, alone, left behind, his anger having driven away those he loved. He strikes a match and lights the large cigar in his mouth, the words "Fat Lady" shining in the match's light. Phatts' hand moves towards his back, his fingers fumbling for something. They eventually find their mark, and with one last drag, Phatts turns himself off, forever. Cut 2.
Oshi sniffed, wiped away tears, and thanked her lucky stars that she was hidden behind the heavy curtain in the common room, eyes squeezed shut and forehead resting on her arms as she crouched in the dark. Suddenly, she feels an arm around her shoulders. Half opening one eye, she recognises the half-orc hands grabbing her arm. After a minute or two, Baggi catches Oshi up on what the boys have been up to, giggling as she tells her all about the custard dripping down Tunk's face after the explosion earlier. Oshi splutters a laugh and rubs her eyes. "Where you been?" asks Tunk as they appear back in the dormitory. Pups looks round from behind Tunk's huge legs, eyeing Oshi suspiciously. She shoots a look at Baggi, who meets her gaze and then turns back to their friends. "I caught her hiding." Oshi's face starts to flush pink and anger rises through her. "I caught her hiding outside Sibla's office. She was trying to set off a stink bomb." Oshi lets out a breath as Tunk guffaws and Pups giggles, although not leaving her gaze, searching for the truth. Baggi grabs her hand and the four of them sit on the bunks, laughing at the custard-stained dwarf. As tears of laughter roll from Oshi's eyes, she feels grateful for her new little family. Cut 2.
Dear Blasto, Baggi writes, apologies for not responding sooner. I ran out of paper birds and it's been nothing short of a nightmare recently. I'm glad the annual watch cob lobbing competition went well. Realistically, though, you should probably be glad you only came second, as I've heard whoever wins first prize gets called Cob the Knob for the rest of the year. Anyway, we've had some luck with Operation Fireball, but also a few personal missions have meant we've been sidetracked somewhat, including some things we'll go through when we next get a chance to meet, which I hope is soon. The gang here are all okay, but currently in a bit of a friendship dip. Oshi has begun to change, and I'm not 100% sure why. She's just not been very nice. I know what you're thinking. When is she ever nice? Ha ha. I just laughed out loud. She's not overly nice on her best days, but I don't know. Something is different. Phatts apparently hates her now, which is a useful stance for our little team. Pups is okay too. We're kind of in the middle. And little Rix is here. Anyway, I've heard there's a Luskan festival coming up, ? Will you be attending for work? It'd be fun to see you if you are there. Best wishes, Blasto. Baggi. Cut 2.
Dear Baggi. Yes, I'm quite happy that I didn't get into the first place in that particular competition. Being called a blast knob for the whole year would have been particularly difficult, especially for someone of my stature. I miss you dearly. It was so nice to see you during that investigation. I have something to tell you, but my job means I have to keep to secrecy. It's lucky that I can have somebody I trust to deliver this particular letter. Otherwise, it could be quite worrisome. There's a lot of activity down on the docks. I think the Luskan spies have increased somehow. Word on the streets they had something stolen, but I'm not really sure what it's about. Anyway, it'd be great if we could meet up for tea. Coffee, maybe? Question mark. Anyway, lots of love. Blastwind. As he sort of folds the letter up and hands it over to his courier, as they run down the stairs, we see them kind of run out of the door. He trips and falls over and then picks himself back up again, but we follow down through a sewer, down underneath the city itself, until we're in front of a large and ancient door that we float through like ghosts until we come into a room filled with hundreds and thousands of dragons. Good. So the sun begins to rise on this busy metropolis that is Waterdeep. The stokes of the fires from all of the servants, especially up towards the North Ward, fills the sky with a beautiful, hazy, grey smoke. It's not so much so in the Trollskull Manor. The building works means that the fires need to be off most of the time, which is lucky considering how fucking hot it is today. The sweat is already coming off your brows as you open your eyes. As you feel behind you on your pillows are damp. And so are the mattresses around you. You can already see from your floorboards the rising of the water from the sweat that just doesn't seem to dry at this place today. As we cut over, we see a little kobold sort of sitting on the steps just outside Big Phatts' room, holding on to a stone. He has stopped typing his usual hourly text message through to the Gauntlet headquarters, but he stopped since that last message, staring at it for the rest of the night. See the bags underneath his eyes. So the red of his scales are now sort of touching upon the whites of his eyeballs as he waits for Phatts to stir.
From inside the room, sound of like clattering can be heard suddenly, and then a muffled "fuck" as the door swings open. Where are my cigars?
I didn't steal them.
You better use that nose of yours to find out where they are. I need a smoke.
Okay. And he just sort of raises the stone towards you.
What is it?
I got a message in the middle of the night. I was texting like he said, and I put smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, firework. And then this came through. And you see on it says, Big Phatts, we must meet now.
I should have figured this would happen. All right. I'm going alone, though.
Okay. Did you check your shoulder compartment?
Oh. Thanks.
Just a dose for it.
And Phatts kind of hulks down the stairs.
What do you think the message means?
Means I'm in trouble.
Why are you in trouble?
Because I'm fairly sure they did not give me that sending stone so you could be fucking messaging all the time, but hey. Fuck them, right?
F them. Do you need some coffee? I know you like the smell of it, so I always make you a cup.
Is anyone else up?
No. Oh, I did hear something, but I don't know if it was Pups or not. You know how sneaky he is.
Yeah. All right, I'll stay for a cup.
Sort of like he runs between your legs and like almost makes you trip down the stairs as he like runs down into the kitchen. And he's already sort of like getting a pot ready for you. You can see in the kitchen there's this like papers everywhere, but they seem to have been pushed off the table itself. There's a half-eaten cheese sandwich on the side, and there's a cigarette in the other half of the cheese sandwich.
Phatts kind of walks over, picks up the plate, knows exactly who it belongs to, goes over to the bin and just throws plate, sandwich, and cigarette into the bin.
As that happens, Oshi's door swings open and she just kind of leans on the door frame, smoking a cigar. And like has heard him like boom, boom, boom down the stairs and is just deciding what to do. I don't think you can see or hear her though. She's just up there going to decide what to do.
Do you want to do a little stealth check?
Yeah.
Right. So what's your passive perception, Big Phatts?
It is 15.
Is that 13 or is that 16?
13.
Right, great.
13.
You have your absolute quietness. They don't know that you're there. Here goes the cup.
Thanks.
I try putting a bit of cardamom in it to try and give it a bit more like floral tones that come through. Hope you
Yeah,
don't.
real nice, real nice. You know what? I'm fairly sure I had more cigars in this compartment. You sure you ain't seen any?
No. Well, I could start getting the. We had that order that hasn't come through yet from the docks. Maybe I can try to chase it up.
Yeah, all right.
Or I could talk to Carla and see if she's got any orders that have come in.
Yeah, do that first. See what she says.
Okay. But in the meantime, you better make that one last.
Thanks for the coffee.
And in all fairness, Phatts, you should maybe have one less today. Maybe.
Slams the cup down the table
I'll see you later.
and gets up. The door opens and slams, and from the behind door, you just hear,
And why is it so fucking hot?
Oh, it's such a bad mood today. And sort of little Rix goes over and sort of like picks up the cups and pops them down and then starts picking up all the papers.
And Oshi comes downstairs whistling and says to little Rix, "Where's my sandwich gone?"
It's in the bin.
Why?
Big Phatts put it in the bin.
Okay, thank you for telling me. And then she just sits and waits.
Oh, coffee. And he runs over and pops it down. You're going to guess what's in it.
In what?
In the coffee.
Coffee beans,
There.
boiling water,
There.
3 sugars,
Yeah.
should be nothing else.
Have a smell.
Oh, she smells it.
Right, do you want to do nature? Let's see if you can figure it out.
Yep. It's going to go badly. 15.
It's cardamom.
This smells like shit, little Rix. I don't like cardamom. Did Big Phatts say to put it in the coffee?
No, I thought you'd like it. I'll take it. And he goes and takes the coffee away and makes you another one. As we see him kind of go over to the bin and sort of like tip it all out, tip away into the sink and then start moving all of the coffee grounds out. He stood by the window and we kind of go past out just outside the tempered window glass and we see Pups sort of sat just outside on the porch, just sort of hidden slightly in the corner of the porch, sort of keeping an eye out on the street.
Yeah, I think Pups has arranged a way that he can be the most hidden from people, but also have the almost like a perspective puzzle, where it's like you would literally have to be in the perfect place to spot him, whereas he's got the widest view possible from around the house. I think he's also like taken like a little reflective surface from somewhere and like stuck it at the other end as well to create like an extra vantage point at the end of the I've got like a long balcony along the den, haven't I?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like a chance to see almost as fish-eyed as possible, wanting to get the jump on any kind of other scout that comes our way.
And you see Big Phatts sort of like stomping his way out and leaving out into the main street. And I think you sort of sat there. Is there anything else that you're doing whilst you're waiting?
Yeah, I'm every so often takes out my sending stone and just looks at it and puts it away. I get the impression that Oshi hasn't necessarily responded this time. Sort of like quite pensively, like that whole thing of like he knows something's up, but he's kind of afraid to go downstairs and face what's up.
Right. Okay. And as you sort of sat there, you wait about 5 or 10 minutes or so, and you see a flash of somebody walking up the road that you recognise. As you see Neverember sort of walking up Troll Skull Alley. Baggi, we go up to your room, is swelteringly hot. So much so that your grease tins have sort of like started leaking. All the grease that's usually a little bit more solid is now sort of like leaking out. I think all your wax candles are doing this as well. They're just kind of like completely floppy because you're at the top of the house, so your room is the hottest out of everyone's.
Yeah, she literally wakes up, you know, when your hair is stuck to your neck. And it's just like, oh, and looks around and is like, oh, crap. Grabs the jars full of stuff that shouldn't be melting, that she doesn't want ruined, puts them all in her hand and just starts like bombing it downstairs, heading straight for the kitchen, thinking it'll probably be the coolest part of the house because it's all full of stone. And literally as she goes, she calls out, Pups! Big Phatts! Oshi! House meeting! And then she goes to the bottom and just like places all the things on the kitchen table, kind of ignores Oshi and looks at the floor and is like, that looks really nice, and just lies down on the stone floor like, it's so unbearably hot in my room.
Oshi sort of sat at the table with a new cup of like normal coffee now.
Yeah, she's just smoking the cigar and drinking a coffee. No reaction.
No reaction. You sort of still continue to lie there, and Pups upstairs, you've heard the cry.
Yeah, Pups hears the cry for house meeting, looks out to the horizon, and just goes at the sight of I know who this is, right?
Yeah, it's Neverember. It's Lord Neverember.
Yeah, so at the start of Neverember, and I'm just going to throw myself off the top of the building rather than go through the house.
Neverember's walking along and she's like, oh, gee.
3-point land. Morning.
Morning. Is everybody in?
Most people. Big Phatts has gone for a walk.
Okay. As long as there's enough of you, it's more important that you are here, to be honest.
Okay.
Let's talk inside.
Okay.
Eddie kind of like makes his way inside. He waits for you to open the door because he's not going to barge into someone else's house. He's got manners, you know.
Yeah, I think as he sort of breezes past, Pups like automatically like falls in behind him on his right shoulder, but then when he gets to the door, comes through and then opens.
And he walks in. Hello? Hello?
Who's... Oh. I suppose we have an extra person for our meeting.
And he's sort of like, yes, a meeting would be great, as he sort of like pops his head around the edge of the kitchen door. Have you eaten?
No, it's too hot to eat.
I see. So you won't want these then, and he sort of pops a basket down. And inside are starlight croissants. They're sort of like very light, fluffy. They have this kind of like slight sheen on them, of like a slight rainbow, or like unicorn sort of flake like colours. And he sort of pops them down. I've heard they're very tasty. And coffee. Oh, thank you, little Rick. Said little Rick. Said, "There you go, my lord." Thank you.
Pups were already with a mouthful of the croissant. Is that how can you all eat coffee in this heat?
Cold-blooded.
That would help. Yes. Look, I wanted to come over straight away. Baggy, you're all right.
Yeah. It's just really nice and cool on my back down here.
Okay. I've unfortunately hit a dead end. I've been trying to buy these nimblerights, as our plan said. However, I did find out who actually owns them. Is the carnival ships just outside on the docks, and I was this close to getting a meeting with I think it is a Lord Zord, in order to sort of buy them, but they have shut up shop and are no longer selling any nimblerights. It was quite sudden. It feels as if there's something maybe startled them or worried them, but they won't have the meeting with me anymore.
Do you think that's odd that they just suddenly stop selling these things that were obviously doing very, very well?
I do, actually. I do. I find it incredibly worrying. I was offering almost 10,000 over the price, and yet they refused to meet me. So you guys know nothing about this? You haven't heard anything on the street?
We tried to infiltrate the ship.
Well, you use "we" very
Sorry?
broadly.
We tried to infiltrate the ship.
We had a plan. You
Yes,
asked me to go and find out if I could buy one of these nimblerights, and that you were going to take me on the ships with you in order to try and buy one. We had a plan.
And we made additional plans.
And now we've lost any way of getting onto those ships.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. So, do you have any other leads on which nimbleright this is supposed to be? Or any other way in which we can possibly find out? No. Great.
No.
Enjoy the
We
croissants.
have some names.
And he's like, sorry, the names.
Well, we've crossed multiple names off of the list. People that we know who have nimblerights in their homes, and none of the ones that we found. And we know that there were 8, I believe.
And how many have you got it down to?
6.
6.
There are 2. There are 2 unaccounted for.
2. Okay. I'm going to start sending agents out to see if we can get any more information. Hopefully we can find out what else has happened. I'm hugely concerned that you didn't involve me.
I think we all were getting frustrated with, I suppose, it taking a while for us to proceed any further. Which is why we came up with the plan, which backfired.
I see.
And well, now, and Baggy's kind of got herself up, so she's standing now at the table and looks towards Pups and says, and I think potentially somebody was following us and they followed us here, but they're gone.
They're gone. You sure they're gone? Are you sure?
Yeah.
They melted into my arms. Yeah, they're gone.
What do you
They
mean?
left behind a small metal latch
Do you have
type
it?
thing. Yeah, I think so. Like checks pockets and pulls it out and hands it over.
I have
I think
heard
it was
of these
used for
particular things.
firearm.
I
Yeah.
have heard of these before. You said firearm,
Yeah.
and he kind of hands it back. I've heard the term gunslinger be thrown around quite a few times in the last few weeks, and especially placing the idea of Luskan on there is also particularly worrying. So, are these ships full of Luskans? Are they drow?
Well, they appeared to be human. All
Yeah.
of them.
I think so. I got hit in the head hard.
Right. Okay.
But the scout was a drow.
Did you steal anything?
No.
No. Okay, good. There's a rumour that I heard, which is why I thought they had closed up shop, is that they had something stolen from them. If it wasn't you, that worries me even more, because it possibly could be one of our players. What was the word that you think you used?
Yeah.
So that would mean that somebody else may know.
About the game.
Or maybe where this nimbleright came from.
Mm.
Oshi? Were you there?
I wasn't involved either.
Okay, so not only did you not involve me, you didn't actually go in full force.
Oh, no, we were very much meant to go in full force. It's just that some of us didn't quite make it.
At least they have an alibi now, though.
True. Just hope that nobody saw you disappear, this person who followed you. Otherwise you could be in real trouble. What I've heard of Luskan gunslingers, they do not hesitate to pull a trigger. And it's what I've heard is very much like a wand with a loud bang. Suddenly you're on the ground.
Mm.
I didn't do anything to him. They bit something and then he just melted. It's like acid.
That's known as bone crack. Essentially, it's a small pellet. It can be used to sort of stop yourself from being captured, maybe letting any information. I haven't heard it being used for a long, long time. Okay. Enjoy the croissants, everyone. Pups, can I have a word?
Yeah.
He sort of steps out the kitchen, hoping that you would follow.
Yeah, Pups takes 2 croissants with him and heads out.
Okay. There's strength in an organization. If you contacted me, we may have been able to find either more people to be around, more agents to keep an eye on you. We could have made a distraction more on the dock itself. We could have found somebody maybe even to sneak in for you beforehand. Like, this isn't just about you being part of something. It's just that there are others to help you be a part of something.
I understand.
And again, this is not me chastising. That's not the Harper's way, to be honest. But I just want to remind you that there are people around to support you and help you.
Yeah. I'll be sure to... how can I contact you quickly, though?
He pulls out a stone. It's like so many stones in this fucking game. Actually, I'm going to make it something a little bit easier. Maybe he passes over like a small crystal.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, this means that we can talk face to face at any time. However, these are not secure networks. But if it is very quickly just to get my attention, we can then meet. Or, of course, you could always come to the house.
Okay. A lot's happened. We've kind of been on edge for a bit. I think when we get on edge, it kind of makes us a little bit... we jump at things. All right. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And he hands you a piece of paper. I should have done this beforehand. These is a list of locations of meeting places in each ward. And you kind of open up and you see it's like a map of the city, and there's at least like 2 or 3 dots in each like ward area. You can often see it by the sign of the harbour. But yes, do use us.
Mm.
There is something I would like to tell you in particular about. There's been a large increase of Luskan spies in the dock ward. I think that they are maybe looking for who was responsible for their missing comrade. If we accidentally pull the Luskans into this game, a game that is already overcrowded, it could be extremely dangerous. Just keep your eyes open and protect those around you.
I mean, they already seem like they're quite involved themselves if they're throwing nimblerights at us left and right.
The thing is, they may not be part of the game itself. They may be for something completely different. We do not know, and I doubt we'll ever know.
Yeah. This is hard.
Yeah. In order for us to retain and get back that money stolen from this city, it's going to be difficult. I mean, Mert has started to know your name. The leader of our organization. I believe that you've met their old partner. They run the pub, Yawning Portal.
Okay.
Their old adventuring buddy, Mert the Merciless, is beginning to kind of see you as somebody to trust, maybe on higher missions.
I'd like that.
But I really have to ask you a question, Pups.
Okay.
What are you going to do with the stolen money?
I didn't know that was my decision.
Well, if you find it, of course it's your decision.
Well, I tell you one thing. I'll take a giant lump of it up to the field ward and throw it in the air.
Exactly. Return it to the city. I'd prefer if it went straight to the people rather than going through the lords, going through the masked lords. It would just disappear and no one will ever see it.
No, I don't care who those people are. I care about the people that I see on the street. I care about the people on the ground. I care about the people on Black Star Lane. I care about the people who have been squashed and stood on by those who believe that they're better in this world.
Yes. Now, I know that I've heard you talk about another player in this game, and which could put a particular target on your back. It could put your heads on the chopping block, in fact.
Who?
You spoke about the Castellantas.
Mm-hmm.
If you kill them, you could be tried for killing a lord, the penalty of which is death.
Oh, don't worry. I don't intend to kill them.
Good.
You can count on that.
He kind of puts his hand out. Stay true.
And Pups finishes off the handshake and possibly the sentence that Pups can definitely remember, but Dan doesn't.
Go on, Dan, just hit us with cannon. Make it cannon. Come on, mate. What's it? Say, stay true.
Wow, it's hard when you get asked to do that. That's just completely gone from my. I've like, what is words? Let's ask the chat.
Okay.
What should we put as the second half of this?
Stay true.
Oh, we lost Joe.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
So
On mine.
so stay true on the chat, please. What's
True.
the next stage that comes through on that?
As he comes in.
As he sort of like goes over and shakes your hand. You begin to feel that sense of the reason that you wanted to be part of this. Doobie-doo. So...
That's definitely what Pups would have done.
Yep.
Doobie-doo.
Yep, and that is the correct that is the correct way. So you say stay true, doobie-doo, and you shake the hands, and so he leaves, leaving the croissants there and a half-drunk cup of coffee. You can hear, all you can hear from the kitchen is that sound of the percolator, like you can just hear this clunk clunk as you can hear the cups being put away in the top cupboard. There's nothing else being said inside the kitchen.
Pups turns back round, close the door, looks at Baggi and Oshi and their determination to not make eye contact. Just says, all right, what is it?
What's what?
What's happening? What is going on? Why? When did you all get this quiet?
Well, we were just about to have a house meeting before he showed up. Have you seen Big Phatts? Is he here?
He stomped off just before Never Ember.
Ah, brilliant. Well, shall we? I just thought it'd be good to just share some information.
Okay.
Oshi, apparently you have some good information.
Yeah, I can go first. So on the third day of the festival is the next meeting of all the people that worship the devil. So it's at the Caslanta, so I'm guessing we should go to that party. And there's like a 3-pronged thing. Didn't really understand. The person who gave me the information was drunk. Anyway, that's all I've got.
So the party that the Castellanta party is a devil worshipper party.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really a surprise, though.
And we have tickets for that, don't we?
Yeah.
How many? Was it 3 or 4?
4. And we need to go mask shopping.
A masked devil worship party. How original. Okay. Right.
And I've committed some money, so I could probably buy us the masks if you needed me to.
Yeah, that would actually be really useful. Thanks. Who did you get this information from?
Oh, I met a guy from the newspaper in a pub yesterday.
Okay.
You suddenly hear a that kind of kicks through the whole place.
And we have a horse, which is amazing. It's very fast.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody know what horses eat or what they like to do? Apart from riding around. It won't come in the house either, so I just put it in the garage. It's kind of stable area.
Yeah, so perhaps this is Oshi's new hobby.
Okay. I'm gonna say this in a different way. And Pups pulls out a bag of ball bearings. And is like, you two are gonna tell me what's really going on, or one at a time, these ball bearings are going straight between your eyes, and you know I won't miss.
I'm Oshi. I haven't had that much sleep. Baggi is annoyed at me because she was worried that I would feel sad if something happened to somebody in the house because I didn't turn up the other day.
I mean, that's the polite version of it, I suppose. Yes.
I can sort of imagine you two are sort of sat back, your back kind of against the tables, like not even looking at each other. And like Pups is sort of like maybe sat on the counter so that he can kind of see both of you. So you can see the back head of Oshi maybe and the front of Baggi.
So it just says, oh, back of that head looks soft. Puts his hand in the bag.
That's honestly what I took from it, Pups. It went on for a little while, but that was the gist of it, I think. And I'm not actually very annoyed at all anymore. I've got a horse, I have money, I have a ticket to a party. Life couldn't be sweeter. That big hunk of junk isn't here. It's brilliant.
Right. Life couldn't be sweeter. Yeah. Yeah, so that the gist, you're right, Oshi. That was the gist of it, and I'm actually surprised that you got even that, considering that you don't seem to give one hoot about anything that I was saying last night. You thought I would be upset because you weren't there in case something happened. Well, yeah, kind of, but also it's a lot bigger than that, really, isn't it? But that doesn't matter to you anymore. Clearly, evidently, all you care about is money now. So if that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be.
I don't know if I've ever appeared thinking anything is more important than money. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Pups. I mean,
Do you know who you both sound like?
No.
You both sound like Justin.
What do you mean?
Just full of fake airs and graces, not saying what you mean with a mean streak behind your eyes. You're both full of shit. If you've got something to say to each other, say it to each other. We've been through enough.
Pups, I already have. But Oshi didn't listen. I can do it again if you want, Oshi. I think you're being selfish. I think you're being rude. I think it seems like you just don't really care. And that is a little bit upsetting for me. And I'm still angry with you because you haven't properly apologised. And I don't think you will, to be honest. So it's up to you, really. My main thing now is trying to get this whole stupid thing sorted.
Right. Anything else, Oshi?
I'm sorry I wasn't there. I overslept. I was finding it difficult to sleep because I was slightly worried that something might go wrong, and then by the time I got to sleep, I didn't wake up until the fireworks went off, which actually I didn't even tell little, but
I don't like it when you two fight. Scares me. I can't really do this without you both. Might I remind you that we have 2 enormous criminal enterprises, a devil-worshipping, seemingly all-powerful family, and possibly a ship full of fucking drows after us. And if any of us were to perish at any one point, then we have a lifelong time of servitude in the 9 hells with one of our best friends. Are you really going to let this be the thing that breaks you both? Would any of you like a croissant?
All right. So it was a pretty good argument there. So I'm going to ask you to do a persuasion check with advantage because you've got the croissants in front of you.
that was the thing that changed it. The croissants. Persuasion. It's a 2 and a 3. But I've got an inspiration.
Yeah. I'll let you burn that inspiration if you want to re-roll that, because that's quite an important one.
Amazing. Okay. Oh my god, double 2s.
So the pair of right. So I'd like you guys to do a wisdom save against that. You never know. This is the thing. You never know.
Oh,
it's that one.
All right. With the nat 1, I know that it's over the number. But the nat 1, you have a slight chink in your armor, Baggy. Oshi, he's talking shit. And you don't. You're not quite on it. We're on his same page as him. Baggy, I think you understand. And I'm going to allow you to play it in roleplay and see where it comes out. It might just use that as your bouncing off point. Croissants get pushed across the table.
Pups and holds out a croissant each.
Oshi takes a croissant.
Yeah, Baggy sort of places her hand on the croissant and then just sort of holds it in front of her and just sort of fiddles with it a bit, like picking at it. She looks at Pups and says, "You're right, you're completely right. And that's exactly why I'm annoyed with Oshi, because she still doesn't get it. The stakes were too high that day, and for you not to be there, to not be reliable. Because actually, if you were someone who was always up at the right time, we probably would have gone to check that you were there, but because you're always going off, which has left you behind. And that can't happen again. She just like takes a bit of croissant off.
What will we change for next time to make sure I'm not left behind?
I could make you a special alarm clock with 5,000 alarms programmed into it.
We have a living alarm clock here. Is little Rick still in the room?
You just hear this. It's like toast gets kind of like put into the bin.
I suppose he is always the first one up.
Are you talking about me?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you talked about Big Phatts. He doesn't sleep, you know. And he's made of metal, and he's also clockwork. So that's why I thought you were talking about Big Phatts.
Would you like that, Oshi? Would you like Big Phatts to come and wake you up in the morning?
It would make him more useful. I could deal with Big Phatts waking me up in the morning. Yes, it would give him another job to do. Being at my service would just make me sleep so much better as well.
What changed, Oshi?
You both keep talking about this. I don't.
Well, I'm actually glad that you can finally see it, Pups, if I'm completely honest.
I'm not talking about what you said. When have you ever told us about you being nervous for a day before? When have you ever opened up to us like that?
No, and look at the reaction I got.
Do you want to do a quick wisdom save for me, Oshi? As you sort of like that, the backtrack starts happening.
Not one.
Oh my!
You backtrack and you just like you can't figure out a way to argue that out.
I was actually just trying to make you both feel better about the fact that you didn't, either of you, think to wake me up because you just assume I'll be out all the time. And that's because I make sure that there is money in the piss pot and food on the table for this team. And neither of you thought to come and check on me. And yet you think that I have to rely on you. And really all you all ever do is, and I don't even think I was actually that nervous. I was just trying to say it to make you feel better about the fact that I was having to work the night before, even though all the rest of you actually went to bed early because you didn't actually need to remember the names and histories and of everyone that was going to be on the ship, because none of you were going to have to talk to any of them because you all just barrel in and set a cannon off and punch someone, and actually it takes no intellect to do anything that you have to do. And I was fine, really. I just thought, let's see how they get on on their own while I...
Pups just walks round the table and just jumps up onto the table and wraps his arms around Oshi.
And like, how does that affect Oshi?
And he whispers into Oshi's ear. Oshi, friends help each other.
Oshi, what would I do to see how far gone she is? Another wisdom save?
Yeah, we can do another wisdom save.
Oh.
So what does that mean?
I think
what does that mean?
I think you start pulling it back and you start taking control again.
Okay. Thanks, Pups. That was really kind of you. Sometimes you just need to show a little bit of warmth to each other.
And you probably feel it the most being cold-blooded, I guess.
Everybody wants a cup of coffee.
No, it's too hot, Rix. You got anything cold? Can you make like a cold coffee?
He said like wanders off. You see him go. He actually goes upstairs, and you just hear him go upstairs. I think Baggy, you know the steps, and it sounds like he's going up to your room.
Little Rex.
He's too far gone. So we.
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna do a little check for little Rix upstairs.
No.
As he tries to create a machine to make cold coffee. So what do you reckon he's going to use? It's got to be intelligence based, hasn't it? It has to be.
Roll for barista.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I think it's going to be an investigation. Oh no, let's do Arcana. All right.
Copy his magic.
Jeez.
Oh. Okay. So like you hear this clanging and banging upstairs while you guys are trying to continue talking. And then he comes back downstairs and then like he's completely covered in soot. And he puts down this glass in front of Pups. Try that.
Pups drinks it and sort of gets a bit of a twang and goes,
Okay, give me a second. And he runs off. And he runs off, runs off back upstairs. And I'm going to do this with advantage as he tries again. Thank you very much. High five. Let's see what happens here with the advantage. 15.
Yeah.
He comes back downstairs and he's got like half of his scales are now burnt off. His hands are sort of like blistered across here, and he pops down a glass. And as he puts the glass down, it goes chink, 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 like a clinking sound inside of it. He's like, I think that's ice.
Pups looks at it and just completely aghast and takes a sip. And it's like, that's amazing.
And he just like passes out on the floor. The last thing he says as he falls is, sorry, Baggy, the room's in a mess. As he falls to the ground. And I think with that slam, boom, and then a pick of a croissant, we're going to go to a small break there. Okay. And when we shall return, we shall see the meeting of Big Phatts and whoever it is they're meeting on their stone, and see how we go from there. But we should go from there. I have to say, high five. You are my human so far. I absolutely adore you. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of it as we go for a little break. Of course, as usual, get yourself a gin, a beer, or maybe a cup of tea. See how you go. Is there anything else we want to kind of talk about before we head off into the break?
Just if this is how you like your style of D&D and role play and madness and silliness, please consider giving us a little follow if you're a lurker in the background. We've got, as you can see, an excellent community, people joining all the time, and we love to hear from you and we love to chat with you. So yeah, come and join us. Give us a follow.
Exactly. Big love to everybody here, all the lurkers, all the chatters, and of course all the players here as well. And we'll see you guys in a little while. See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye. Mm. Mm.
Beautiful tea.
Lovely Kappa Joe.
Lovely Kappa Joe. Oh,
Lot of gin.
welcome back, everybody. And say big love over to Tea Party Fox for trying to give some advantage to Oshi. Unfortunately, we've already got some Tea Party Fox, but that's all right. Baggy, though, you got your inspiration back, which is always so lovely. As you got that from Tea Party Fox. So let's just bring that back into play.
Thanks, Tea Party Fox.
And then, of course, Red Bird the Gamer coming in with Pups inspiration as well. So we'll give you that back over.
Thanks, Red Panda Gamer.
There we go. So we're almost nearly full, apart from little old me over here. Such a shame because I used that inspiration already. Never mind. All right, so we've had kind of a bit of a fallout from the heist, or the failed heist from a couple of sessions ago. I kind of like to see what you guys think is actually going on outside of this, outside of the drama of the household. And also those on chat as well, if you want to let us know what you think is going on outside in the great game. There we go. Thank you, Evie, for popping that on. So do put your thoughts into the chat, and we shall see where we think what we think is going on. So, guys, what do you think is going on?
Well, they're suspicious of us. Let's put it that way. They've stopped, obviously, selling nimblerights because they're like, nah, mate. It's pretty obvious. They've probably heard on the grapevine that people have been sniffing around all the people who own nimblerights. Yeah.
But also someone's nicked something, from the ships. It wasn't us.
Yeah.
Did we nick anything?
No. For once. No.
Well, you didn't. That's for certain.
Nah. Had you been there, probably something would have gone.
Yeah.
Few
So
souls.
it depends if that was something to do, obviously, with the great game.
Right.
So the biggest bombshell there from Neverember was the whole like, oh, don't bring the Luskins into the game. I was like, they're not in the game?
So there we go. It's not everybody is playing the game. Sometimes they might not be playing the game. But there's always a risk of bringing somebody in. So if you think something got stolen, what do you think got stolen?
A nimbleright. No.
Yep.
Or maybe the manifest, the thing that we were trying to fight. Maybe the thing that we were trying to steal.
Okay. So what would it mean if they stole a nimbleright, and what would it mean if they stole the manifest?
Well, if it was the Xanatars or the Xantarum that were the people that stole the ledger or whatever, then they could be doing the same thing that we're doing and find out who that explosive nimbleright was, and could be further tracking down this, the Stone of Galore?
Mm-hmm. So they might be...
Because the nimbleright survived, didn't it? It didn't explode, like it ran away. So that beardy nimbleright might be causing all kinds of mayhem for other players in the game. So maybe there's another player that is trying to do the thing that we were doing.
Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, then somebody might be ahead of you.
I'm fairly sure that most people are ahead of us.
Yeah, I think
Mark Shepherd is ahead of us, for God's sake.
I don't
think we're well.
Yeah, you guys aren't really players in the game yet because you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing in this game. All you've got is the backing of Overlord and a couple of organisations at the moment.
What we
And a
need is
cannon.
a strong leader to take charge of the rest of this group, Someone maybe large.
What, are you saying they should be male?
Metal.
You're going to roll up a new character?
Exactly, shots fired.
You guys.
Gunslinger!
Shiny. Thank you, Red Panda. Shiny. Yeah, someone should be shiny.
There is something interesting you'd say about Gunslinger. That is also a revelation that's come up.
Yeah.
About gunslingers, so firearms being a part of this as well. Always a worry, always a concern when firearms turn up in a fantasy world. But yeah, so if there is something that, if the ledger or the manifest was stolen and somebody could be ahead of the game on you, if it was the nimbleright that was stolen, what do you think that's about?
Well, it's an untraceable, like, kind of, how would you describe a nimbleright? They're kind of like...
Technically, it's a construct.
Yeah, so somebody could be getting this construct to complete their dastardly deeds, and they're not being tracked.
Dastardly deeds. There we are. Dastardly Deeds score number 1 on this channel. The first time that Dastardly Deeds has been used, and I think it will probably be used much, much more.
I thought Gabby was back to being a pirate.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was great. Okay.
I still am convinced that there's more to these nimblerights, though. That they're storing information somehow or sending information back to the Luskins. But that might just be me being a conspiracy theorist and, you know, paranoid.
So how would you prove that?
I don't know. Well, I want to get my hands on one.
Okay.
Maybe take it to Hogwarts.
I mean, there is a worthwhile popping over to the Temple of Gond maybe and seeing what you can find out about that, you know, because it's possible. Or you go back to, I mean, you got another day until you can go back to Phelan's.
Oh God, yeah, crap.
And then it gives you access.
Also, if we're going back to the Temple of Gond, we could be up and go, hey, why the fuck was this submarine underneath the ship?
That's a good question as well.
What the fuck's that about?
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Yeah, why are there cut up body parts in the water as well? That's super weird.
There is a big question of like, why would this carnival ship have the submarine underneath as well? Like, that's a big question that I don't think Phatts has asked themselves yet.
Yeah.
Neither has Rob. I just accept things the way they are, you know. It's not my style.
I think it's like if you have a theory, like you say, Evie, with you think that the information going back, think about ways in which you can prove that or disprove it. You know, because there's so many things across the city that you can go, right, actually, I want to go and figure this problem out. How do I do that?
Oh, I know. I can find a nimbleright and start a nasty rumour about Oshi and see if it travels. Just tell it a nasty rumour. I'm not going to do that, don't worry.
I was going to say, she's done so much bad stuff. You'll have to go quite far.
Yeah, to carve through all the other rumours.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. Prove or disprove.
What about that street you don't want us to go on?
Oh yeah.
We'll go down to Skullport.
Yeah.
No, you got no problems. You can go to Skullport if you want.
No. Scared.
Yeah, you can go out to the main ship, the one that's deeper in the water if you want.
Yeah, that's no longer deep in the water. It's no longer. It's sort of sitting quite proud now.
But it was very much like, yeah, do you want to do either of these two? No, one deeper in the water. Oh, sweet, okay.
So
one less person, yeah.
So yeah, if you wanted to go to Skullport, I mean, there are ways of getting in there, like maybe not full frontal assault, guys. Maybe there's a way of sneaking in and having a look around.
Really? Oh, it doesn't
We
sound
need
like
to look
that.
at some of those eyes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And also, Lord Zord came up when we were like, where did Lord Zord come up, Eviepedia?
I will tell you just.
I think it was Toy Story 2. I think Zord was
Buzz Lightyear's dad.
Enemy. Yeah, dad. Yeah.
Lord Zord on board the barracks. It was in the barracks, right? Lord Zord was written on the board at the barracks, as was finishing school in Seaward, mother of Tamlar's House of Graces.
Yeah.
Why human?
Yeah.
Obviously, there were humans on the boat. On the
Neverember
ship.
didn't seem to bat an eyelid at the fact that they were all human.
But but lots of Luskin notes, and then also the quote, something to do with animals. I don't know how relevant that is.
All right.
There's also a family heirloom now.
That
Luskin.
is to do with the Black Viper.
Right, different thing.
I'm sure they're not connected.
Oh, and also something else was written, which was Colac Tower.
Colac
Trade.
Tower.
Colac Tower.
Yeah, that's been put up there as well, which you don't know anything about yet.
Mm-mm.
So you've got a couple of things that you can try and push for leads on. And we can do that information quite quickly. We don't have to roleplay everything. I know we love to roleplay. But we can just do like, oh, I just want to search and find out what Colac Tower is about. Do you know what I mean? And then we can go do a public records check and see what you find. You know, so you can do that kind of stuff if we wanted to.
Oh.
I know you guys don't want to. You want to roleplay everything. That's fine.
We just love the kitchen sink. You know?
I know you love the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Why don't we just now roll a d20, and if it's higher than 15, we've solved all the problems that need to be solved. The Castellanter's sorted.
All right.
Tunk's back.
No!
Yeah, I don't know. How do you guys feel? Like, it's 10 to 9. We could all get an early night. Campaign solved.
Yeah, Rob's grumpy
Close
today.
the channel down.
Goes shut down. We're done.
Fine.
Finished.
Rob hasn't been able to do much, so now he's like,
Yeah.
Roll dice.
19.
Right, sorted. Okay, done. Right, well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you like this kind of way that we play D&D, then stick around. We just failed the next campaign, unfortunately, though.
This is Sabotage the DM's mini adventures. All role characters, and we're done. Lovely. Okay, well, for that 19, I think what we'll do for that 19 is we see Big Phatts walking down the street. There, as they move up towards the north tower, towards the barracks, to go over and meet their maker. No, meet the general. You kind of come through, and once again, those guards are stood there. As you come through, they kind of slide open and let you pass in. Actually, in the courtyard this time, the general themselves are actually sort of addressing the troops, and they're sort of like inspecting them, making sure they're all fine. You can see the nimble right there. The nimble right now is no longer lifting things. It's actually started to take care of horses. So it's there like brushing down the bodies. You can see that they're like really, it's very dexterous the way in which it kind of looks after these horses. It seems very caring. Could you do a quick perception check for me?
That I can.
Oh.
22.
The bead, the glass bead that's on their chest. It's just a moment that you think it flashes. And then it's gone again. Just a moment that you think the bead on the nimblerights' chest just flashes and then it's gone.
The camera is maybe like 100 meters away, and sees the nimbleright in the distance with the horses, and then close to this camera, a cigar, smoked to the end, falls, and then a large Warforged foot walks over it and off towards the nimbleright as Phatts approaches number 3.
How they treating you?
It stops. It turns to you and bows its head slightly and then looks towards the horse and towards the brush and then sort of raises its shoulders up as if it can stand straight.
I see you're not carrying any boxes anymore. You happy about that?
As it nods its head.
Good. I wasn't able to find any more of your kin. Suppose you don't know anything about any more of your kind.
So it puts its fingers to its lips. Its hand comes down and covers its bead. And then it writes in the sand, watching.
Watching?
Points to its hand.
Well, anyway, if you need me, I'm gonna be at the Ivory Keys later on by myself.
And then it sort of grabs hold of your arm.
Vulnerable.
Grabs hold of your arm. And then puts its hands down and writes in help. Escape.
All right there, buddy. Well, I need to go speak to Nook. You keep working on those horses, and I'll see what I can do.
Raises his hand off its bead and starts brushing.
And Fats kind of like walks off, his head kind of just like looking over his shoulder, thinking about what's just happened. As he approaches the same kind of tower area where he had gone to meet Nook before. And I think that there was like an orc or a Goliath that used to be there.
There's a Goliath there. And it's like, Fats, I think the general's expecting you.
You don't have a smoke, do you?
I do, actually. And he pulls out like a cigarette.
Haven't got two, do you?
He rolls another one for you.
Thanks.
Fats puts both in his mouth at the same time and lights them.
Nook in?
He's expecting you. He's pretty pissed.
Well, that's generally the treatment I get around these places. I'm used to it. Thanks.
He sort of nods for you to go up. You make your way up the tower, and of course you get to that top of the tower, that control room. The big map of Waterdeep in front of you, the pieces being moved around. You can see sort of like the movements of the different gangs' territories, the Zentarum and the Xanathar. It looks as if nothing much has really changed. It's been a bit of a stalemate situation. You can see all of the sending stones across the side. Except you see that there's a slot that's now missing of sending stones. And you can see the general sort of stood. He sort of stood over the table in his usual position, sort of working out the kind of the movements of the forces around Waterdeep. You do notice that there are way more pieces in the field ward now.
Fats kind of leans against the wall, as he did last time, waiting for Nook to have a moment.
Nook sees you and carries on for about 30 to 40 minutes.
After the first 20, Fats pushes himself off the wall, walks by Nook, and goes back over to the area where he'd been given the sending stones.
Oh, it's you.
Howdy.
Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, fireworks.
Fireworks, yeah. My kid got a hold of it. He's only young.
Yeah. We've disconnected your stone.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. We don't allow non-members the stone anymore.
That seems like a good policy. Otherwise, people could start fucking with you and pissing you off and wasting your time.
Yeah, wasting my time. This guy has not looked at you through the whole conversation.
Hey, do you know if Nook's got a moment anytime soon?
He keeps his own schedule, you know that.
Okay. You don't by any chance have a smoke, do you?
No, not for you.
Shame.
Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, fireworks.
Fireworks. Yeah, now that you say that again, that's pretty funny.
Do you know, your stone was ringing and I thought it was important, so I ran over to it. Ignored my other calls. Smiley face, firework. Caused the death of 2 agents because I was too busy trying to figure out if it was a code. Thanks for that.
Well, I'm sorry about that. Again.
You don't sound sorry. That's... And he puts that like TS at the end of it.
Yeah, it does come across like that, doesn't it? Well, better go and see if Nook's got some time free in his schedule.
Yes.
Phatts walks off, just going.
Continues with his
Smiley
work.
face, fireworks.
As you kind of walk past, the general was like, puts his finger up towards you to like hold your space and make sure you stay still. And he kind of carries on talking. He's talking in much more hushed tones, almost as if he doesn't want you to hear it.
Can I do a perception check?
Of course you can.
I'm going to use my inspiration for this.
Okay.
$15.
Okay, I think what you get out of that, you hear the word Zentarum, and you hear the word stolen something. And then he turns. Big Phatts, should have come to my office.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry about the wait. We have been quite busy. Gauntlet.
I understand. You're a busy man.
Kind of walks into the office and closes the door. Goes around to his he's actually got quite a small office, small desk, very utilitarian in that way. And he kind of turns to you and he goes, it's very difficult for me to say this, actually. I kind of vouched for you quite a lot in the organization. And I thought I was doing you a favor, but clearly this is not something that you're interested in.
I told you from the beginning, Nook, that I was going to be working on a freelance basis.
I know, and that was my mistake, which is why I've taken the deaths of the 2 agents on my own shoulder. I'm being demoted, and I'm being taken away from the station, and moved north to Mirabar, into the cold. It's fine. It's my own mistake, but you may have... I saw that you went over and talked to the radio operator, and you know your stone has been disconnected.
Disconnected, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to need to take that magnetic badge off you as well.
I see.
It's not my choice. But you've clearly shown that you don't have a respect for the organization. That's fine. I knew that coming into this, which is why it's my mistake. And he kind of puts out his hand.
What happened to the 2 agents?
They were just on a mission in the trade ward. They were trying to keep an eye on an installation that was held by the Zentarum. They were asking for help for backup, but our radio operator was trying to figure out if your fireworks was a code. And they sent a few agents down to the dock ward where the fireworks were going off, thinking that it was some sort of signal.
I see. I see you've moved a lot more people into the trade ward as well.
Yeah. Look, between you and I like you and you're a veteran as I am, and you know that I like to look after you and look after each other. That's the point, right? As we always remember. But I have to let you go from this organization, and you won't have the support of this organization any longer.
Well, I still think you should pay me for the time that I've put in for trying to look for the Black Viper.
I'm going to do something slightly different. I know that you're particularly interested in, what was the word you used, players. And the Zentarim's movements within the game. It's what the radio operator said anyway. We've heard a lot of chatter. They've become particularly interested and excited about a villa on Horn Street. They seem to be sending agents there to overlook a villa. For what reason, I do not know, but it may be in connection to something they stole from a ship.
Which ship would that be?
Our information is often third party. And he kind of looks at you, and you can see that he's holding something back.
Has nothing to do with the Luskins, by any chance.
And he kind of looks around. I couldn't possibly say.
Figured as much.
And sort of like gives you a slow wink of the eye.
Well, Nook, if it's any consolation, I had no intentions of getting you demoted or anyone dying. And I understand why I have to give you this. He hands over the badge.
So takes it. Well, look, if you're ever in Mirabar and need of a warm fire and a slightly warmer beer, do give me a shout.
I'll tell you what, seeing as we're not parting on the best terms after what's happened, I'll continue to track down the Black Viper for you free of charge. If you can, you've got a nimbleright out back grooming some horses. I've got a shipment coming into Troll Skull Manor I could use with an extra bit of muscle.
Yeah.
Loan me them for a night.
Yeah, we can do that. It's 3, isn't it?
Number 3, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. When do you need them?
Preferably today.
Okay, it's done. And then he kind of like opens up a small box next to him. Cigar?
Thought you'd never ask.
And he sort of like lights a match for you and sort of lights his cigar. You're a good man. Phatts. And your loyalties are your own. And your morals and your ethics are good. Just doesn't fit into our organization. That's that.
Could have told you that myself.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have listened. Good luck, my friend.
And to you, Nook.
And he sort of puts his
And
hand
he offers
out.
his hand.
Yeah, and they just both take their hands and they shake. As Nook sort of sits there, he sort of slumps down on his chair as you leave. But you can see him just sort of... The reason that his desk looks so utilitarian is because he's already started backing up. As you sort of come out, and you can kind of like see all that information and all of the movements around and the pieces on the board around the map of Waterdeep.
That look, Joe. Can I have a closer look at the map?
All right, so let's do a perception check on this then.
All right, let's party. No advantage. Let's see how it goes. Not good.
7. Okay. You see a small note on a piece of paper. It says Ursel Flockskin. And you notice that it's thrown sort of around the area of Horn Street. That's all I'm giving you for a 7.
Sorry, so say that again. Ursel Flockskin.
Yep. And it's like a piece of paper and it's sort of around the area of Horn Street.
Of Horn Street. Great. Perfect. Okay, cool. Phatts takes that in for a second. And then over his shoulder towards the radio operator, he just goes...
There's sort of
and
like
walks out.
just sort of hold still. It's like, ignore him, ignore him, ignore him. It's like carries on writing.
Smiley face. Smiley face.
And Phatts leaves.
And you sort of make your way down the stairs. As you open up, it's just so much smiley face, and little explosions going on the chat, which is nice. As you kind of come out into the courtyard itself, you can see that the nimbleright is still kind of like doing the horses. He's onto a different horse now, and he's sort of like brushing down the coats and moving the hay around and all this kind of stuff.
Phatts walks over to him.
Number 3, boss man upstairs says you're to come with me. I need some help shifting some heavy boxes.
And then he sort of like, just as you say heavy boxes, he sort of like drops and then recatches the brush.
Sorry, boss's orders.
His head drops. So he puts down
Come
the
on.
brush and then walks behind you.
And Phatts, just as he turns, he uses the flat end of his now axe hand, smacks the horse on the arse, and it goes galloping off into all the recruits who were standing lined up.
And then it goes into absolute pandemonium as you see all of this kind of chaos as the horses run, but also the other horses that were there in stationary for the inspection with the lance corporals and corporals on top of them, and all then suddenly start running off as the whole of the courtyard goes into pandemonium. You see these two constructs sort of march their way out of the courtyards as you take them back all the way back to Trollskull Alley. Okay, so what has the rest of you been doing today, and what would you like to go and do today? Jump at the chance if you want to.
So many things.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Go on, Evie.
Well, I mean, my immediate thought was that Baggy was just staring at the horse.
One horse to the other cutscene.
Just going, what are we going to do with you? She's just staring it in the face.
It's actually very quick, Baggy.
Is it?
Very quick.
Can
think we
you-
should call it Harold the horse.
Yes, Harold.
Hermione.
A name known for being fast. Okay, well, can you ride horses, Oshi?
Bolt.
Okay. Yeah, Bolt. Yeah.
It sort of leans forward and sort of takes a chunk of your hair, Baggy.
Oh, God. Oh, you. Oh, brilliant. Great. It's already a mess. Ugh. Right, so it's fast. Can you ride horses, Oshi? Or...
Yes, can you?
No, but I don't want to try. I suppose that could be useful.
It sort of starts backing up out of the stable as you see that there is no hay, there's no food, there's nothing here for it, as it starts like backing up.
Oh, Oshi, what does that mean?
I'm guessing it's hungry.
Oh. Baggy just gets out a croissant and just throws it on the floor.
It just sort of stops and then leans down and just sort of like picks up the croissant, like things sort of falling down across its face.
So how are we going to feed this thing?
We can buy horse food.
Great. Another expense. Can't we sell it?
Why?
Because
When
it's...
have you not wanted to make money out of anything?
I've already made money in the last 24 hours. Can't always be down to me. I thought you liked animals anyway, Baggy. You like that class
no.
at school where we had to look after those disgusting creatures.
Yeah, they were easy to manage and small and interesting. This is just a big horse that just wants to eat things.
So rude about Harold.
Bolt.
What do horses eat? Like, can we just give them like leftovers and slops and things like that? Is that a horse? That's what we used to do at home.
Slops.
We
Yeah.
just eat anything.
Yeah.
Why, for the love of fucking God, do we have a horse?
And then it's the number 3 looks at you confused, like, and goes and picks up and tries to look for a brush. I can't see one.
Don't.
Why do you have a nimbleright?
Because I'm trying to help.
Where did it come from?
I think we're all overdue a talk. Baggy, I'm gonna need your help with something.
Okay.
Inside.
Okay. So you kind of wander off. So Oshi, you have had some experience with horses. I think, can you just do a quick history check for me with advantage?
17.
17. All right. You know it's going to cost 5 copper pieces per day to feed this horse. It's then going to cost another 5 silver piece per day for stabling and like cleaning and everything else. If you want to start putting saddles on it, because I don't think it's got a full saddle on it yet, that's going to cost anything between 5 gold pieces and 60 gold pieces for it. This is a particularly specialized horse, so I'm going to say the feed per day is going to go up to a silver piece.
Freaking hell.
If you want to keep it as fast as it is. Per day.
I mean, as I guess, how does Oshi get paid from the Assassin's Guild? Does the money just turn up at the house?
When you complete a job, you need to go, like he did before, go and actually show the evidence that you've completed it, or, you know, that sort of stuff.
Okay, so in the interim of, I guess, Baggy and Phatts' whatever they're about to do now, Oshi walks the horse round. Oshi walks the horse round to the dagger She just tries to find it. Or she says to the horse, find the dagger. And then and that's the evidence. She goes and shows Tack, the fucking great horse.
Find the dagger. All right, can you do an animal handling check for me, please?
Yeah.
14.
Oh, mate, we're fairly good then. All right, well, it takes you a couple of hours, but it does take you to the dagger. And I love it. Everyone thinks the horse is called Dagger. Find the dagger, find the dagger, find the dagger. Okay, so you turn up at the door, the usual door. You tie up the horse as you kind of pop your way into the dagger. I'm going to turn this into quite a fast transaction because I want to pop over to the other guys. So you get your 350 gold pieces for completing that challenge. Completing the challenge, back to Survivor. So you get 350 gold for completing the job. But Tack does stop you, and he says, there's a lot of I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of action up in Horn Street. Some of my guys, they work for the Zents, and they've all been asked to kind of get ready for this evening. I know that you're interested in that kind of thing.
Ready for this evening over in Horn Street?
Horn Street, yeah. I don't know why, but everyone's taking a call and you owe.
Oh. Yeah. Well then, I'll be off.
The old toothless one was asking if you want another lesson. Says if you're interested, he can give you some training.
Great, thank you.
No worries. I'll get in contact about any other jobs, but it's a little bit quiet at the moment. Unless you want to work for the Zents, of course.
Probably out of my league anyway.
I would say so. Or the Xanathars, they're always busy looking for someone.
Oh, and you could do me an introduction?
Mate, you're one of the family now. Of course I can give you a fucking introduction.
Thanks.
Just let me know when.
I'll sleep on it, thank you.
He gives you a nod. As you leave, you can see that there's like people are now like moving chairs for you to come and sit down with them if you wanted to. But you kind of like, are you making your way out today?
Yeah.
All right. So we go back towards the house. You guys hear the clippity clop of the horse kind of run off. The nimble right is sort of like now confused, looks towards Big Phatts as if like, well, what am I doing here?
Follow me.
And he sort of follows behind Phatts. I'm guessing Baggy's behind.
Mm-hmm.
And Pups, what are you up to? Are you a part of this or are you separate?
Yeah, I'm going in. I'm going to see what this talk is about as well.
All right.
But I'm going to hang, like, I'm going to sort of hang by the front wall of the house. I'm going to be inside, but I'm going to be almost like, if there were curtains, I'd be curtain twitching.
Gotcha. So you're more interested about what's going on outside than what's going on inside.
Yeah, I'm like watching this with my eyes and listening to this with my ears.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. You kind of make your way inside. The builders have been cracking on. I think they are probably approximately 16% complete of the of the building works. Ready?
They've still got 2 weeks.
No, they don't. We've now got 10 days. 10 days.
11.
9 days. They've now got 9 days until opening. In case you guys don't know, we have a Dragon's Den refurb pot. So do put your points in there to see how much is going to be ready for in 10 days' time. and see how finished it is. But you guys walk in and sort of like the builders are having a little bit of a break time, going for lunch. But you can see it's about 16% complete. It doesn't look particularly good at the moment. There's still a lot of building equipment. There's still a lot of saws and like bits of wood, sawdust, paint, all sorts of shit hanging around. None of the chairs have been covered up yet. The bar top has definitely not been fixed out and been sanded and redone. Yeah, it looks a bit of a mess. But you walk in with the nimble right.
And Fats picks up like a nearby crate and hands it back to number 3.
Carry this.
He grabs hold of it.
So it's covering the chest bead.
Mhm.
If the builders are in there, Fats goes,
Take a break.
All right, lads, time to take a break. And they sort of like, all right. And they just literally just drop tools and just pop off. You see this one kid sort of sits down at one of the chairs and sort of opens up a tin box, pulls his sandwiches out, looks up, closes the top, takes it, and it wanders out.
and then they're alone, are they?
Yes. Actually, I think Carla's there, and she sort of notices she can see that you guys are in the middle of a meeting and wanders off, but she is there. Just want to make sure you know that she is working and she is there, but she goes off.
You know
When you
that.
took me
Go on.
when I had my accident and you took me apart and put me back together,
Yes.
would you feel confident to do that again? Because you're going to have to be.
I don't know.
This is number 3.
It looks up a bit.
Hello, number 3. You know that's not the one.
I'm
Right.
well aware.
Okay. I mean, what part? What exactly are you looking for? That's
And Fats looks over at number 3, then looks back to Baggy and points here on his chest.
If someone was to be able to view things through someone else,
And he puts down the box.
I see.
And then picks up the box again.
Right.
what I'm trying to say is that number 3 here is helping me with a job moving some cargo, and I need to make sure that he's in working shape.
Well, might I suggest, considering what happened the last time I tried, maybe we take a trip to a temple?
I don't reckon that I want number 3 here to go anywhere else that isn't where I need the cargo to go.
Where did number 3 come from? Who does it belong to?
Number 3 here's on loan to me. Could be temporary. Could be permanent.
Okay. You know what? Fine. I'll try, but I can't guarantee anything.
I don't need your guarantee. We have an opportunity that we should not waste.
How much time do I have?
$24 hours.
Fine. Will you
Thank you.
be there to
Do you
help?
want me to be there?
Yes.
Then yes.
Thank you.
Hey, number 3.
Mm,
Why don't you go start clearing out that stable outside?
and it just turns and just walks straight out.
Hey, number 3.
Turns.
Thank you.
It looks confused. And then turns and goes out.
I
I'm
found
not-
out some information.
What?
The number 3 is a listening chip or some sort of viewing device inside it. It may have been an oversight to bring them here, but I figure that if it's Luskin made and Luskin designed, then our little friends who you ran into the other night already know we are on limited time. Aside from that ship that we attempt to steal things from appeared to have things stolen already that evening, perhaps. There is a villa on Horn Street, perhaps owned by Ursel Flockskin, whoever the fuck he is. I suggest we try and get down there and find out what's going on.
Fine. Thanks. That's helpful. One thing though, I'm not entirely comfortable with opening up number 3, especially if there is some sort of listen device inside. I mean, they're going to know that where it is.
If I have a button on me that can power me down, then I'm sure that number 3 has one as well.
But it's not as simple as that, though, is it?
Nothing's ever simple. We don't have the time or the luxury for things to be simple.
No.
Number 3 asked me to help them, and I intend to do so.
So the name Ursel Flockskin, you guys have all heard.
Yeah, Pups' ears immediately pricked up at that. Do you say that Ursel Flockskin is in a villa somewhere?
On Horn Street.
You know that was the person that blew you up, right?
We
What?
think.
Yeah. We had a witness. They were the one that we think threw the bead that turned into the fire that put you in pieces. Black Snake, they call him.
Gives you more reason to go down there then. I could do with letting some anger out.
Well, do you think we should all go? Or would you rather I stay with number 3?
Remember what happened last time we weren't all together?
So, Baggy as well, you knowing the streets, because that you're, and also Pups as well, both of you know this. Horn Street is not a small street, and there is a lot of villas and buildings on that particular street. A lot. And it's also literally round the corner from you guys.
It's so close.
It's really close.
Oh, yeah, it is. Do we know anything else?
That's all I can get. I will not be working for the Gauntlet anymore, though, after today.
Is that because of...
Doesn't matter. I would suggest that we all try to go together if we're looking for this villa. And whilst I think that we are just as capable, the three of us, after the other night's shenanigans. We may need that Yuanti as well.
Oshi.
I'm not fucking calling her by her name. She don't deserve my respect.
I'm telling you, her name is Oshi.
Well, I ain't calling her it.
I'm going to go call Oshi. Pups leaves.
Okay. So you're going to go and talk to Oshi with the ascending stone.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a little bit of open nimbleright surgery to do. So Pups, what are you sending to Oshi?
Something's going down on Horn Street, and we need our sharpshooter. Arrow emoji, target emoji.
Too many words. I think you can do 10 words in a message, really.
Okay.
So Oshi, you received this message.
Yeah, and I'm guessing has she already done. Is she on the way to me? Because it was like
On the way back. I think you're on the way back.
Okay, she just puts back meet outside the manor. She rides that horseback. She doesn't ride in sandstone though, because you can't do that. She pulls over to a safe place. She might murder people, but she's safe on the roads.
Mm-hmm. Code leader. The code leader was very clear about sending stone while driving. Very, very, very clear. So, Pups, you've got a bit of time whilst they're going to do this operation. What is it you would like to do during that time?
I'm also going to. I'm going to put out that stone that I was given, the gem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, Horn Street tonight. Danger.
All right. Comes back with his face sort of appears.
Oh, that's weird.
And it's sort of like what?
We think something's going on Horn Street. You told me to tell you and check in when things happen.
Good. Do you know who the target is?
Not yet.
I'll see if I can come up with a couple of target names and I'll get back to you. And it just goes shoo. It disappears.
Pops just like, that's fucking weird. Puts it in his pocket. I was expecting words. Wasn't expecting a Zordon face.
So sort of carrying over. Big Phatts, you just got an inspiration for a Panda Game Bar. So you kind of come out and you go into we see you kind of in the stables. Stables are empty, of course, and the number 3's holding a box. I'm guessing number 3's lying down on the box, or is lying on the floor or something like that.
Yeah, lying on the box, probably.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be there for this, just in case there's another malfunction, whether that be from 3 or Phatts.
Okay. So you're sort of stood there with your court staff, just sort of waiting, ready.
And Phatts has a like a piece of cloth over the bead on the chest, and he's looking into like number 3's face, and he just says very quietly, very low, "You asked me for help, and I will help you. You have to trust me."
His head sort of turns and looks at you directly, eye to eye.
We are more than just machines. We are kin.
And you just
I
see,
fucking hope this works.
and you just see this oil just drop from its eyeball as it falls down its face.
Are you ready?
And it nods. Okay. Phatts. With the help of Baggi and your intimate knowledge of constructs, I'm going to allow you a +5 to your investigation check to turn it off. You can use your advantage if you wanted to, in order to make sure that you definitely make this happen.
I'm not going to use my advantage.
Okay, cool.
Ah.
But you can add
Because I
+5 to
I
it.
like the risk. I like the risk too much.
Investigation check.
Keep
Okay.
going.
Are you ready?
No.
I've got a -1 in investigation, so let's party, baby. Poison!
A 10 is enough.
It's a 10.
10 is
That
enough.
was enough.
Oh,
You spit your hand on their cheek as they feel that oil run across your fingers, and just behind their ear there's a small little like spring-loaded button, and you just tap it, and it just sort of stops. Although the action seems as if it's still, you feel the inaction of the object or the person. Sorry, my apologies. The individual. You feel the inaction of the individual.
Okay. Let's get to work.
right. And I feel like Baggy's sort of already laid out like her tools, and all she's thinking is to not damage, because she understands now that there is like a source to the life, almost like this, I suppose, the soul, and if that's damaged, then it's kaput. But it's still thinking very methodically, so I feel like every single thing that she undoes or looks at, she's gonna ask Big Phatts to make a note of it, so
Sort
then
of
we
like
can work back in.
numbering all the items that you're taking off, so you could put them back in the same place. That kind of idea.
Yeah, it's almost like solving a puzzle, but then making sure you can put it back. That kind of thing.
And what's your aim here?
To try and quite literally, I think, look inside of the any sort of chest cavity openings and just have a look at what exactly is going on by that little bead, to see if there's wires, what that goes into, where that leads to, and that kind of thing.
So it's going to be very difficult to do while it's covered. If you want to keep it covered, we can do this all with disadvantage.
No, I think I do want to try and open it up.
All right, cool. So let's do your tools with intelligence.
Okay. I'm gonna use
This is to get
didn't work.
the opening up to get to it.
Great.
10. Okay. You're sort of taken off the sheet, and you're leant over, undoing it all. You become very close towards the chest as you undo the screws, and you kind of get the sort of beginning chest the chest coverings off.
Yeah.
But into doing so, you've had to get quite close to the bead while you've been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you get it off.
Okay.
And you can see underneath all of those pistons and like the clockwork parts of it. And it seems as if the bead itself sits inside its own cage, disconnected from the other pieces.
So it's totally separate.
It looks totally separate to you.
Right. Baggy wants to sort of investigate it inside of its cage to see if there's any wires or if it's just transmitting somehow.
Okay, let's do an Arcana check.
Okay, great. Oh, do I use my inspiration or not? Yes, screw it. I am going to use it. Tea Party Fox. Thank you. Tea Party Fox.
Oh, heads it down with the crit. Oh,
Tea
awesome.
Party Fox. Tea Party Fox.
Yes. I was literally going to say we haven't rolled any crits today.
I know,
And there
it's
it
very
is.
weird for us not to roll a crit, so thank you very much, Tea Party Fox. Right.
Okay.
That was me drinking my drink. Okay, so you look at this bead, and you realise this is a crystal ball. This is a communication device to allow others to spy through that particular crystal ball. With a crit, you see a face on the other side.
Shut up. Sorry.
So we're all going to go over and have a look at this because this is a handout moment.
Oh shit! This just got exciting.
Wow. Thank you, Tea Party Fox.
Yeah.
This is a big move.
Jeez. A face in the ball. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited.
You see this face.
Jarlaxle Ben.
But you see this drow with this huge kind of pointed, like, sweet hat. Your first thought is to think that it is Lord Zord.
Right.
But then you hear someone shout, Jarlaxle, do you want a cheese sandwich? And they go, no, I'm all right, thank you very much. As he looks at you, and then he looks at you.
Oh my god. Baggy's just gonna place her hand over it. She's freaking out. And just turns to Fats and is like,
Fats puts his hand on Baggy's hand, raises it off, and looks dead into the face of Jarlaxle.
And his face looks over at you.
You better remember my face, motherfucker. 'Cause you fuck with me and my kin, and I will destroy everyone you know and love. I will burn your ships to the ground. I will find you, and I will make you suffer.
He just smiles at you. It just goes... It just goes to, like, static.
Take it out.
take it. Why did you do that?
Take it out.
You do realise what you just cost us, right?
I'm fully aware. We do not have the time or luxury for things to be simple.
I'll take it out, but what's the point now, Fats? He switched it off.
You can switch it back on.
Fine. And so Baggy attempts to remove the crystal ball.
You can tell, Baggy, that this is suddenly it feels as if this has become like a real personal mission for Big Phatts. Like, it's a feeling of, you know, when somebody sort of like suddenly becomes obsessed about keeping a particular, I don't know, like a shirt clean. And there's absolutely no reason that you understand, but there's something about it to them that means it's really important that they don't get anything on it. It's similar to that if, like, this just feels like something extremely important to Fats now. extremely so, yet you do not quite understand it. And I think there's an element to the difference between the two of you where you see cogs, machines, and he sees soul, an individual.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you recognise that this has become very important to Big Phatts now. So you're going to try and take this bead out.
I'm going to take it out.
All right, see. So, we're gonna do a tools, but I'm gonna ask it with dexterity to get this out.
Okay. Dex. Shouldn't be too bad.
Oh!
20!
Oh, absolutely nailed that. I'm just going to move back over to the other screen. So, all right. So you tell me what this looks like as you take this bead out.
I feel like the way that it's been put together is almost like the cage. I imagine is almost like a metal cage like that around it. But the way that it's been placed in, it has like all these little nuts and bolts securing it on either side. So it's actually quite a long process.
Sort of like suspending the bead inside the cage, of all these different screws that are holding it in. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, almost to make it look more difficult than it actually is. But I think Baggy realised after a while that it wasn't actually affecting any other part of this machine. It was literally placed in there. There was space created for it, and there is literally now like a massive gap. And as it comes out, it's like that last bit, it just sort of goes. And she almost places it down like it is an organ. Like, oh my God, because it just feels really large to be right there.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say part of your crit as well, you reckon that you, with enough study, you could see what else this crystal ball could see.
Ooh.
With enough study.
Yeah. Study time first.
But you successfully lifted the bead out of the body of the nimbleright.
And she looks at Phatts and can you now tell me everything that I did to open number 3 up in the reverse order to give us the best chance?
History check time, please, Big Phatts.
Has anyone got a smoke?
No, but I have a lighter.
Do I still have? Is that an advantage for me?
Yeah, you do still have an advantage sitting there.
You'd have one, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Baggy used theirs, didn't they?
Yeah, mine is gone.
But Stuart's just redeemed a new one.
Okay, then you got it back. Okay, good. All
Okay.
right. History check.
Let's do it. -1. With advantage, by the way.
With advantage. 16. Good. You hand the items to her in the right order. Baggy. Now it's time to put them back in.
Oh, gosh.
So let's do tools with intelligence. Do you want...
I think now I've got to use my advantage.
All right, cool. Thanks, Stu.
Stu, it's too important now, clearly. Thanks, Stu.
Oh! Hitting me with a 23. So you begin sort of like reattaching everything through. You do notice that there is a cog in there that has a particular writings upon it. Mm-hmm. Very similar to the cog that you saw in Big Phatts.
Oh.
It's different. but it's the similar sort of concept of like it's written in the same place. It seems to be a cog that doesn't seem to be as overly important. It's not like it's a marking or anything. But you pop it back in. What languages do you speak? Everybody that's there.
Gnomish and common.
Speak Gnomish.
Mm-hmm.
Common, draconic, and orc.
Great.
Goblin common.
None of you know what it says.
Ow.
So you manage to put this nimbleright back together completely. Big Phatts, you strike your hand down the face of number 3. As its face turns, like twitches suddenly, and looks towards you.
And Phatts offers his hand.
And his hand comes out, and then it looks over at Pups. And as you all look at Pups, there's a flashing, like, gem or something flashing in your pocket.
Pups turns away, puts his body in between him and the nimbleright, and opens it up.
And you see a face there.
Mm-hmm.
Growlhund. The Growlhund Villa. It's the
Okay,
only
are
thing
you
that
coming?
could be. It's the only thing that could be on that street.
Okay. Will we have support, or is it just us?
Do you need support?
How big's the villa? Like, how big's the family?
The family is a relatively small family, but I'm not sure. I can't talk too much on this line. This is not a secure line.
Well, I guess I'll hopefully see if we survive then. He puts it in the pocket.
As you say that, you hear clup, 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 clup. As you look up and you see Oshi. Oshi seems to be in a bit of a rush to get off the horse. And she runs into the stable.
We need to go to Horn Street.
Yeah, Grohan Villa. That could be the spot of our missing nimbleright.
And also where Erstal is.
And then Oshi looks at Big Phatts and says...
Who hasn't turned around to look at you yet.
And she says, Big Phatts, this time we all go together. Where's Little Rix?
And Phatts still looking at number 3.
Number 3. I want you to choose yourself a name. You are autonomous now. You are welcome to stay with us. It will not be a safe place to stay, but this is your life to live. You get to make the choice.
He looks up and points to a beam that's like holding like a beam that's across the way of the stables.
You're welcome to it.
And he stands up. And he looks at his, points to the beam, and then shows its guns.
I like your style.
And Oshi, you sort of stood there like you know that there's a time frame on this, and you're looking at this like pissing about, essentially, in your mind.
Big Phatts, is Beam coming too?
And Phatts stands up, walks right past Oshi, and says,
Baggi, Pups, let's go.
So you see you guys turn out of the stables and make your way out. This horse...
And as Fats starts to march off, I'll start to go, but I lean over to Baggi and I say very quietly, he said he had an off switch. Do you know where it is?
What, number 3 or Phatts?
Phatts.
I'm not telling you.
As the horse goes by and like tries to grab hold of the top of the hair of Pups.
Yeah, I let it happen.
And it chomps like a good 3 inches of your hair off the top and walks its way into the stables, starting to eat the shit that's on the floor and anything else it can get his fucking mouth on. As you kind of turn, we see that moment of Baggi turning to Pups and just going, "I'm not telling you," as the shake of the head kind of goes into more of a slow motion move. As we go closer towards the eyes of Baggi, and as it blinks, it's a different set of eyes. As we see this eye sort of stood with the hood over, their arms linked over like this, as they're lying on top of a rooftop. Evening sun beginning to come down over the city of Waterdeep as they stare at a villa. As we fade to black. Okay.
Wow.
Good. What's Rick's doing at this time? He's making pancakes. So, lovely. So we have now moved our way through. Interesting that we may have made a new enemy out of this. Hugely excited. Well done on that crit, because that was such a great time to bring it in. And you possibly found the location of this problem with a name that you've recognized before. Your growlhounds are back. Okay.
starting to merge. All the threads are starting to merge.
It's like I planned it or something. But it's really, you've kind of gone around it a different direction than I expected, but I think that we're on our way. So as we started doing this last week, where we went through the things that we really enjoyed about the session. People on the chat, if there is anything that is particularly that you enjoyed, a scene, a moment, a section of roleplay that you enjoyed, please do pop it onto the chat. There's something that we're starting to do more often here. So I'm going to start with Dan. What's your favourite moment?
So I have like a general yet specific thing. Like something that I really noticed about everyone is there's a real give no fucks attitude that's going on right now, which I'm really enjoying. Like there's I'm sort of thinking back to how we were and everyone wanting to sort of be the good player and not rock the boat too much. But now you see these like fully formed 3D characters who have feelings, who have needs, and are also willing to make alliances, break alliances, disagree with each other on a micro or a macro scale. And like that bit at the end with Evie just being like, yeah, I do, I'm not telling you. Like there's so much, like there's so many layered moments within all of the conflicts. And yeah, I'm here for it. It's so good.
I completely agree with that. One of my favourite moments is definitely that bit with the I'm not telling you. It's so good. So we're so used to, as a team, you do things all the same things, but like moments where it's just like, nope.
Yeah.
So moving from there, I'll go to Evie. Evie, what was your favourite moments?
Oh, I have so many. Can I go through all of them?
Eviepedia.
I actually really, really enjoyed this week. Big Phatts and number 3's relationship, growing this week, and actually that whole sort of theme about constructs and souls and all that. That's just fascinating, and it's really lovely that Phatts, for someone who is often very like, I know, to have that softer side, and to see how much he really does see number 3 as as brethren. I just think it's really, really nice. It's really lovely. And I really enjoyed that this week. And I as much as I hate the new Oshi and her like I hate it, but I also love it. It's great. It's just really great. It's really great.
Massive kudos to Rob Thompson for that. That relationship has been building for a long time with number 3. Which is kind of why I thought, because it was after we had the conversation, Evie, about this communication thing. And I was like, actually, Rob has been working really, really hard with number 3 and looking at this particular topic. I think it's time for him to give that trust to Big Phatts and sort of try it out. So massive kudos to Rob Thompson for that. It's been a wonderful journey on that particular theme. Agreed. Gabby, what was your favourite kind of moments?
I liked the bit because it made me uncomfortable, but also like was totally in character. I liked it when Big Phatts just like didn't give a shit, but was very nonplussed by the operating person, and was like laughing like smiley face, and I was like, oh my god, stop. And then the poor person who lost their job, and Big Phatts was like, and those 2 people lost their lives, and he was like, but I liked because he backed little Ricks up the whole time, like he was never going to sell his boy out, like his little mate out, but I was like, oh, stop for a minute, just don't talk. But obviously he's going to, isn't he? Because it's Big Phatts. But that was really amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I was expecting, when I threw that in front of Rob, I was expecting a different reaction, and what I got was completely surprised, and I really enjoyed that myself as well. Okay, Rob, what was your favourites?
So I think I have one for all of you. I really liked Pups, the repetition of her name is Oshi, and backing up Oshi on that one, and then the kicker at the end of, do you know where the off button is? That moment with Evie and saying I'm not going to tell you, and also like the crit that happened, and the uncomfortable house meeting that was facilitated by Baggi that was lying on the floor. Loved that, like really like fed up heat stroke Baggi in the house. I really liked Oshi's bit today where she rolled the bad wisdom save and couldn't like defend her position, and then just monologued for ages, and the thoughts were so sporadic, and it was really nice. I just love the like kind of, we don't get to see vulnerability in Oshi very often, and also she always has an answer for everything. So it was great to be like, even you're talking absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
The chat has been saying, and I 100% agree. For you, Joe, anytime Rix is present, you just melt my heart. And the cold coffee moment was particularly brilliant.
So good.
And it's also, I mean, it's sick to just be like, fuck, Rix is going to be like the biggest badass ever who has taken like bits from he's like multi-classing to fuck. Like, he's like taking monk, rogue, artificer, barbarian. He can fucking start his own cigarette, like herbal shop.
Yeah.
Like,
got a nose for it.
If he doesn't die, we're probably going to end up fighting him as like a big bad.
He's going to be the big bad.
Yeah,
in 20 years.
High Five Dog has backed them as their savior, their chosen. So you'll never run out of advantages for Rix, I think.
Yeah.
So let's have a look. Let's see what else we had. Some good ones from the thing. So the Nat 20 operation was awesome. I agree with that. Like seeing, I've been waiting to reveal Jarlaxle for a very long time, and actually, it's interesting because this is the first face of like a big player that we've seen. Do you know what I mean? So that was really great. And I think, the face in the orb and Dan Burman's reaction to it from Heavens Bevins Rick's is
That was
classic.
so weird as well, because like I would like Dan loved it. Like Dan loved the Clint Eastwood moment, and then I suddenly like melted out of it back into Pups of being like, what the fuck have you just done?
Yeah.
It was the weirdest duality of feeling of like, this is really cool. Oh, you fucking prick.
Yeah. So we're going to see what the reaction is from that little threat.
I'm a like run into a burning building kind of player, you know. That's
We've seen it a few
you all
times.
fucking you know the way I play this game.
But yeah, I think that's been quite interesting. Seeing your reactions to that, and I agree with you, Bevers, so sort of seeing everyone's faces when that was revealed was really great. For me, my big moment, I'd say, and this is a personal moment for me, is the oil tear down the face and the switch behind the ear. I just really enjoyed describing that, and I think that was quite a nice one. Personally, for me, I really enjoyed that moment.
It was a lovely touch.
But I just think generally we've done a lovely session. I've really enjoyed myself. I hope everybody at home has enjoyed themselves. High five! You're my dog, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So I hope that you come back and carry on.
I also have to
this.
shout out Stuart for the brilliant observation of Oshi and Phatts both being on the same level with Cardamom, but nothing else. Like they started the session agreeing, but you'd never know, and then it's just deviated. I love that.
Deviate from there on. I'm glad you had a great time, Evans. It's good to see you again. I'm glad you had a great time. So do join us next week as we continue the adventures of Waterdeep Mallrats Dragon Heist episode 21 as we continue forth, and then of course join us on the next day on the 10th for the next TPK battle as well. We'll also be announcing some other dates for some other pieces throughout the week. So keep your eyes on all of the socials. Do make sure you go over to YouTube, subscribe and like, go over to our Facebook pages, our Instagrams, Twitters, and of course here, if you do like what you're seeing, do come and give us a quick follow here as well. Big love, and as usual, keep planning heists. Oh yes, of course. There is one big thing.
Tiny
yes,
thing.
there is a big thing. Sorry, Rob Thompson asked us if we could do a little favour for them for next time. Mr. Thompson?
So anyone who is still active on the chat, I would like everyone to give me suggestions for the genre of music that I'll do next week's recap in. We won't tell you which one I choose, but it will be definitely one of whatever everyone comments. So lash them on there. Yeah, I'll try my best. Bear in mind, I can't fucking play an instrument, so everything's going to happen with my mouth live. Ooh, that's a weird thing to say.
That is a really weird thing.
Oh, D&D after dark.
No, ooh. So yeah, please do pop them in there. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Eminem, shanty, hip hop. So we've got a few bits coming through.
Shanty hip hop.
It's shanty hip hop, bebop. Oh, you can go with a bit of bebop. So we are going to. There's a lot of shanty. The second one for shanty, so maybe we'd go in with a shanty. So we are going to do some raiding. We'll go raid over to. Are they roll together still going? Let's have a quick look.
They're not. I'm checking and I can't find them.
All right, give me a second. I'll have a look.
Yes, high five, dogs and soul.
Let's go to questing time.
Questing time, copy that.
And so we're going to go raid over questing time. So what we'd like you to do is when you get there, it's like you to put in big love from Sabotage the DM as you get there. Just pop that into the chat, fill it up, put it many, many times. Keep writing it until they say hi. So we're going to go and do that in a second. So Dan's going to line up the old raid time. If not, see us next time as we continue these adventures. Big love. Enjoy the stuff. Enjoy the week, and we'll see you soon. All right then. Bye.